Good evening. You're watching the news from the Sultanate of Oman Television. First, the headlines. The Sultanate and the United States renewed their support for containing the Gulf crisis. The Sultanate is elected as member in Continental Shelf Borders Commission of the United Nations. Financial Affairs and Energy Resources Council discusses financial allocations for funding job seekers, training and qualifying plan, and gas supply price for Duqm refinery project and petrochemical complex. And 8 agreements on social responsibility areas signed between Petroleum Development Oman Company and a number of government bodies. Those were the headlines. Now for the news in detail. His Excellency Yusuf bin Alawi bin Abdullah, Minister responsible for Foreign Affairs, received today a telephone call from His Excellency Rex Tillerson, Foreign Secretary of the United States of America, during which they reviewed good bilateral relations binding the two countries. The U.S. Foreign Secretary expressed his affirmation and trust on these relations and the desire of the American administration to continue and enhance them in various fields as to serve the joint interest of both countries. Latest developments in the region and current Gulf crisis were also reviewed. They re-emphasized the Sultanate's vision on the importance of supporting the efforts of His Highness Sheikh Sabah Al-Ahmed Al-Jaber Al-Sabah, the Emir of Kuwait, and his good offices to contain the crisis. It was also stressed that the Sultanate is looking forward that these efforts will be supported by all parties and that the role of the United States is important and needed to cooperate to find solutions to settle these differences, and that the Sultanate is confident that brothers in the Gulf Cooperation Council have the desire to overcome this crisis and activate the GCC system in a way that achieves the targeted aims and serve the joint interest of the GCC peoples and safeguard the security and stability of the region. The Sultanate was elected as a member in the United Nations Continental Shelf in the first Commission meeting, which was held in New York. The Sultanate candidate, Ambassador Dr. Adnan bin Rashid Al-Azri, advisor of Continental Shelf Project in the Ministry of Foreign, won the Commission membership as the second highest percentage of votes after the Japanese candidate. It is worth mentioning that the Sultanate achieved big steps in the project of expanding the continental shelf, which the natural resources are considered as the main purpose of this expanding. A memorandum on gas supply price for Duqm refinery project and petrochemical complex were topics discussed by the Financial Affairs and Energy Resources Council in its third meeting of the year. It also dealt with the financial allocations required to funding job seekers, training and qualifying plan prepared by the National Training Fund. The Council also viewed reports on the credit rating of the Sultanate and the results of the issue number 53 of the government development bonds, and a report on the final accounts and performance of Oman Investment Fund for the fiscal year 2016. The meeting was chaired by His Excellency Darwish bin Ismail bin Ali Al-Balushi, Minister responsible for Financial Affairs and Deputy Chairman of the Financial Affairs and Energy Resources Council. With the aim to support the spread of scientific learning at all levels of society, Petroleum Development Oman (PDO) signed today 8 agreements with a number of government bodies. PDO is purchasing equipment for the Research Council with the aim of establishing an advanced national laboratory in DNA studies in the Sultanate and increasing the capacity of the country in DNA analysis. PDO is also providing equipment for the Oman Innovation Hall in Sanaa, including robotic, electronic, and IT devices to support learning and innovation amongst young children in various subjects such as math, computer studies, biology, and geology. Contribution of endowments in the development of education and building societies were the center of discussion in a seminar on the role of endowments in funding education. 3 work papers were presented in the event that shed light on the historical background of endowment and its types, contribution of endowments in education, and talking about various features of endowment in Islamic civilization. This seminar also highlighted some examples of charitable endowments and its role in supporting education in the United States and Western countries, and success stories of some universities with the support of endowments. Still to come in our news bulletin. A French pilot crossed the English Channel in a flying car. Welcome back to the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. The Ministry of Health, MOH, celebrated the World Blood Donor Day, which marks 14th of June under the theme, Give Blood, Give Now, and Give Often. This year, the theme focuses on blood donation during the emergency. Emergency cases affect the lives of millions of people every year. Therefore, blood transfusion is one of the basic factors of healthcare and requires providing adequate blood supply during emergencies. This ceremony included lectures related to the importance of blood donation, health reasons behind blood donation, as well as the humanitarian and religious role in this field. At the end, the participants that organized this event and volunteer teams were honored. Muscat Securities Market MSM General Index today lost 52.3 points, comprising a decline by 0.99% to close at 5,248 points, compared to the last session, which stood at 5,300 points. The trading value today stood at 1.9 million Omani Riyals, comprising a rise by 21.3% compared to the last session, which stood at 1 million Omani Riyals. The report released by MSM pointed out that the market value fell by 0.36% to reach about 17.8 billion Omani Riyals. Oman National Transport Company Muwasalat said that all operations related to all external trips to various governorates and Dubai will be shifted from Rui Station to Adheba Station without any changes in the internal trips in the governorate of Muscat. The Adheba Station will be the starting and the end point for all internal trips from the next Friday, except Muscat Sur Ja'lan Way, which will continue operating from Rui Station. A French pilot crossed the English Channel in a flying car that looks part dune buggy, part paraglider. Under a clear blue sky, Bruno Vizzoli launched his flying machine down an abandoned wartime runway near Calais, lurching from side to side as he slowly gained altitude suspended beneath a giant canopy. Vizzoli landed safely 59 kilometers away in East Tuttle near the English port town of Dover, 50 minutes after taking off. Named Pegasus, a winged horse in Greek mythology, the flying car is the brainchild of Jeremy Duffy, an entrepreneur inspired by early aviators such as Brazilian Alberto Santos Dumont and Frenchman Louis Blériot, who made the first flight across the channel in 1909. According to Duffy's team, Pegasus only needs 100 meters to take off and 30 to land. It can also reach a maximum speed of 80 kilometers an hour at a 3,000 meters altitude and has an autonomy of 3 hours. Here are the Ramadan times for tomorrow. Fajr prayers at 3:53 a.m. and Maghrib prayers at 7 p.m. Now for the general weather forecast around the Sultanate. Clear to partly cloudy skies will prevail over coastal areas of the Governorate of Dhofar. Rest of the Sultanate will have clear skies. Winds will be westerly to northwesterly, light to moderate. Seas will be slight with a maximum wave height of 1 meter. This is the Sultanate of Oman television. Before we end tonight's bulletin, here are the main points once again. The Sultanate and the United States renewed their support for containing the Gulf crisis. The Sultanate is elected as member in Continental Shelf Borders Commission of the United Nations. Financial Affairs and Energy Resources Council discusses financial allocations for funding job seekers, training and qualifying plan, and gas supply price for Duqm refinery project and petrochemical complex. And 8 agreements on social responsibility areas signed between Petroleum Development Oman Company and a number of government bodies. With that, we come to the end of tonight's news bulletin. From all of us here at the newsroom and the studios, it's good night.